we're back with our Windsor expert, Aditya. What's going on in the world with Windsor these days?
I feel market is kind of softening. I don't see the prices are going down, but what I have noticed is there is a lot more inventory. So all of a sudden buyers have options. The inventory has increased by 103%, which means pretty much double the inventory. That being said, the properties are still selling. The number of sold properties also doubled. And look at this one, insane, 60% appreciation compared to last year.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and we're back with our Windsor expert, Aditya. Hey, Aditya, how's it going?
Hey, Matt, going great. How are you?
Good. So really looking forward to finding out what's going on in the world with Windsor these days, because, the 2021 really started off very hot in every real estate market. And now it seems like, different markets are kind of reacting differently at this point in time coming into April and May. So, before we jump into the presentation or the slide you've put together for us, just in general, what are you seeing going on?
Yeah, in general, I feel market is kind of softening. So what I mean by that, I don't see the prices are going down, but what I have noticed is there is a lot more inventory. So all of a sudden buyers have options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before it was like the opposite, and we will see the numbers in a bit, but a huge number of inventory came into the market. So some properties are getting crazy amount of offers. Some properties are getting less offers, and some of them are not even getting offers. So that means for me, it's sounds music to my ears as an investor.
It definitely means there's some opportunities that are starting to creep into the market more than in the super competitive, right? For us as investors, we actually much prefer a more balanced market.
Yeah, exactly. And, not only just as an investor, as a realtor, it's been crazy. It's tough to find a property for the investors because of this, crazy amount of biddings on every property. Before last month, it was on every property. Now, thank God, not on every property. So it definitely helps, pretty much everyone.
Yeah. And one last question before we jump into the slide you put together. Any updates for your own personal portfolio? I know some audience members love just kind of hearing what's going on in your world.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm still working on the 3 projects that I've been working for a while, like the 17-unit building. I had 6 units vacant. So out of those 6 units, now 4 units already, 2 of them are fully completed, and the other 2 units almost at the final stage of renovations. Because of this materials thing, it's kind of slow with the renovations. Another 2 units probably will be done by end of next month. So hopefully I can refinance the building, pull some of my money out so I can go buy some more. I purchased another duplex, like I mentioned last month. So it was last month I already purchased. Now we already finished renovations on 1 unit. We just did very cosmetic updates, because that's another thing, a tip for investors. If the unit is in a pretty decent condition, just need a cosmetic, very freshen up and work. Honestly, it's not worth it to change the kitchen or washroom if it's already in a decent condition. So on this duplex, 1 unit was like vacant, and it's kind of dated. So what I did was painted all the cabinets, changed the knobs, nice granite countertop, backsplashes, and painted the whole unit, changed all the light fixtures. Now looks beautiful. So now we are actually will be renting out by end of this month for $1,500 for a 2-bedroom unit. So awesome. I like those kind of work. It literally took only 10 days to finish the renovations.
That's great. It's nice when a project kind of goes according to plan. And so what sort of demand are you seeing right now for rental units? Is there still lots of demand for people wanting to rent properties, or is that subsiding?
Actually, for good units, yes, there is still a demand. But even on that, the renting side also kind of softening, right? Still, we are stay-at-home order. Still, not many people are moving as often they used to. So definitely making your property stand out will help you to lease the property soon. So out of these three projects, actually one was a single family that I already finished renovations, actually a week and a half ago. So it's been like 10 days. And I already have a tenant now ready to sign the lease. So we are just waiting there, going through the process. But because I kind of like presented the property very well, I was able to secure the tenant in 10 days. But I have seen some people, some investors like trying to rent the property just as is, kind of a little bit not so clean. They are the one like sitting for a little longer. But if you have a clean unit, they're renting without any issue, at least from my experience so far.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate you just sharing your kind of, boots on the ground experience. So let's jump into some of the data. So what are we looking at in April 2021 for Windsor?
Sure. So actually, before I jump into April, if someone is new watching this video, no idea about Windsor, we put a Windsor guide together. If you're a reader, we have a full guide. If you're not so much reader, just need the highlights, how much is the prices, what neighborhoods, what are the rents. We have a mini guide as well. So go check out those. Matt hopefully will have it in the description.
Yeah, link in the video description to Aditya's website.
Yeah, many people told me those are very, very helpful. And of course, just the prices are from 2 months old. So we will be updating every 6 months. So, but most of the data is very accurate, like rents and everything. So please go check out that. Yeah. So coming back to this, the April month, this is like the date of the April, end of April. So very surprisingly, if you look at the number of new listings, the inventory has increased by 103%, which means pretty much double the inventory. That being said, the properties are still selling. The number of sold properties also doubled because the inventory is there and the buyers are still there. There are a lot of buyers looking at Windsor because still there is good cash flow possibilities. Still the prices are within affordability range. So I see that's still up. And look at this one. This is something really, I feel like insane because I own some properties, right? Like 60% appreciation compared to last year. And of course, some of it because, the COVID hit right in the April month, right? So this is like compared to last year and this year. So last year, April month and this year, April month, maybe that could be one of the reason because, as soon as the COVID, the lockdown happened in the mid of March, the just sales dropped and the prices dropped a little bit in that April month. But even still, the average price in Windsor was I believe in 400s just a year ago, and now 571, which means a great news for a lot of homeowners. Not so great news for people who haven't bought properties yet. But again, one thing I would give a solid heads up, don't get, knocked out by looking at this average price. In Windsor, they're I'm actually making an offer, actually made an offer this morning for my own portfolio purpose, a duplex on the market for under 500 that has a non-conforming unit in the basement. So it's technically 3 units under 500. So there are properties, but again, this is an average, this is kind of a vague number, but huge increase, huge appreciation happening in Windsor. And I feel that can still continue, but this is something that intrigues me, having more listings.
And so, Aditya, just kind of building upon this or chatting, what are you seeing investors that you work with or that are coming to you doing these days? Are they waiting to see what happens next in the market? Are there certain neighborhoods they really like or certain types of properties that they're targeting?
So very good question, Matt. So definitely, again, kind of a mixed investors, right? Some of them who are savvy investors, they're always looking for a deal. where they can add value. Nowadays, the recent more often I have been seeing in Windsor, especially because the prices are going up. So now it makes a lot more sense to buy a single family home in a nice neighborhood, add a second unit. So that's getting more popular. In Windsor, it was not, because actually the additional unit came into legal process just a year or year and a half ago. So it's still new. And we didn't have too many comparables. And even now, we still don't have too many comparables to show after repair value, but the strategy is more making sense now, because the prices are, catching up in that neighborhoods, in a good neighborhood. If you want high quality, some investors are focusing on that one. I'm working on one of my duplex conversion now. And the other strategy which always works, and always savvy investors always looking for, my repeat clients, they always look for small multifamily, which, if possible, some vacant units, if not, low rents and a lot of room to improve. Those are the type of properties always, in demand.
And so are there any neighborhoods right now that particularly are, catching your eye, or some of the investors that you work with, their eyes?
Yeah. So again, depends on, so personally, I'm looking at some, low pricing neighborhoods. Because, I believe in real estate so much that I don't think the prices will ever go to bare bottom from what happening in the economy. I'm not as savvy with the economical things, but I believe in simple things, like the demand for real estate is growing, the inflation is growing. So more and more, I feel like the middle class, or lower middle class, who are working for 50,000 or 100,000, or over family income less than 100,000, more and more they might be out of real estate. They cannot own a house. And we've been seeing, I was just last week doing some research, the percentage of homeowners every year over year in North America, US and Canada. I've been seeing that it's the homeownership is going down and down. So I feel that will continue to happen. So that's one of the reasons why I'm focusing on low neighborhoods, because now if a nice neighborhood is going for 800,000, of course not many people can afford that. So now they'll be looking at affordability housing options. So neighborhoods like West Windsor, that's one of my favorite pocket, where I see there is a lot of room for growth, because the university is right nearby, and new bridge construction, existing bridge, it's sandwiched between those two. I feel like that neighborhood can improve quite a lot. So I'm still focusing on that area. Another pocket like that, still slowly coming up, not up there yet, but Ford City. Again, if you talk to a local Windsorite, these two neighborhoods, they're don't go there, so scary. I lived in West Windsor, and I know, I personally love it, because nice, there is nice breweries, restaurants, riverside. There's so many things that I love about. It's just probably the old stigma that is still carrying, that need to go away again. There are still junkies, that roam around there. If you put something in your car, might be gone. So and also between downtown and Walkerville, there are a couple of streets. If you're aware of Windsor, if you're not, check out my guide. There will be the downtown and Walkerville, there is central Windsor. Some pockets there also coming up slowly. So they're not, the prices in Walkerville now kind of shoot up, because a lot of people love Walkerville, and it's a great neighborhood, really trendy kind of pocket. but the borders of it. And the
Yeah.
other side of the border is Ford City, and this side of the border is kind of downtown area. So this borders, I've been seeing like slowly revitalizing, right? A lot of investors buying properties and slowly improving. So when you renovate the property, you will get better quality tenants. So all of a sudden the pockets are getting better. So these are the three neighborhoods that I'm still focusing on. And you know, a lot of investors still who love this duplex conversions, they're focusing on South Windsor, Fontainebleau, the Forest Glade. Those are two neighborhoods that are in the east side, and East Windsor. Those are four neighborhoods where you can, you know, buy a nice single family like bungalow style for around 500-ish and put another 100,000, add another secondary unit. So you will be making like, you know, $500 to $1,000 cash flow in a good neighborhood. So that's something, you know, if you're like looking for quality tenants. But if you want like, you know, something lower price point, maybe look at something that I look at.
Gotcha. Yeah, really appreciate the perspective. And I was just trying to think now, how long have you been a realtor?
It's been 2.5 years, close to
2.5 years. Okay, yeah, I was thinking it was probably around 2018 or 2019 when it happened.
I started in 2019 Jan 31st.
Oh, okay, nice. You remember the exact date. So I'm curious, Aditya, that first year in 2019 when you were a realtor, you were working with a lot of investors back then. Your investor clients from 2019, you know, what are they doing these days? Are they choosing to sell? Are they all just sitting and holding? Or are they still actively buying? Or do you notice any patterns there?
Good question, actually. Very good question, Matt. Some of them are selling because, you know, very good appreciation. Right now, I have a couple of properties on contract for sales. My clients' properties that I helped them purchase like, you know, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. They're pretty much making like like, you know, if they purchased for one property, one of my clients purchased for like 300,000. Now we have a deal on contract for like, you know, 500,000. That's like a good return, right? You can pull that equity. Yes, you can pull by refinancing, but still some more money left in there. So again, some investors are selling because that's the reason why I see a lot of inventory is also coming in.
Yeah.
But personally, like most of my clients, like I would say 80% of them are still holding on to them because they're more like buy and hold, but some of them are moving on to a different asset class. You know, some of them are like selling their duplexes and, you know, triplexes, those type of properties and moving into multifamilies, you know, and personally me, I'm still keeping them. I'm in the process of refinancing one of my duplex that I purchased, that's my second duplex in 2017.
Nice.
Got it for 165,000. I just refinanced for 465.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that's crazy to think. Essentially, that's what, like a 200% increase or a 300% increase? That's crazy.
Yeah. And 200% on the price, but on the money, it's way more because my investment is 20% down, right?
Yeah.
So which is like 40,000 approximately. Now, just the refinance, probably I'll get the money next week. It's going to be like 260 or 255,000. So more than 600% returns.
Yeah, it's wild to see what's happened to Windsor over the last couple of years. But at the same time, when you take a step back, I think that Windsor hadn't experienced a lot of the appreciation that other parts of the province had, you know. So for me, I always think back up until about 2016, I don't think London really started seeing any appreciation. And I feel like Windsor really didn't start seeing it until like, was it 2018, 2019? Like is really when it started there. And so again, some of this, you know, it's hard. No one can predict the future. No one knows exactly what happens, but at least I think it's easy to rationalize a portion of the increase that we're currently seeing as being more the markets like Windsor, the Chathams, the Sarnias, and London's kind of catching up to what had happened in the GTA since like 2012, essentially, right?
You know, again, that's another thing. I feel like some investors like me who got a couple of properties at that time got lucky, but you know, if you look at the trends, like the reason for that growth is the ripple effect, right? The bigger cities, and then Kitchener, and then London, and then like Windsor. and the population, and this COVID actually pushed it up even more because the work from home became more reality for homeowners and investors. So now all of a sudden, Windsor seemed more appealing, and it's still like, still where can you get a duplex for 450, 500, right? There is like probably very few cities that offer that. So yeah, I'm still optimistic about Windsor Market. I feel there is some more growth room because of the immigration population increase.
Yeah, and I think even in hot markets, there's still always like information asymmetry. There's opportunities, right? There's going to be certain neighborhoods that, like you mentioned, that locals have stigmas around. Those were always my favorite to invest in London. So I know, like, I'd be investing in those exact same neighborhoods. I can remember way back on our very first Weibo limo tour, we looked at 1 or 2 properties in Ford City, and I was like, yeah, I think that this would be the sort of neighborhood I'd likely be investing in. It might take a while to see it fully gentrify or transform into its full potential. But for anyone that's in at home, if you guys want to learn more about Windsor, understand the market, really encourage you grab one of the free guides that Aditya mentioned. We'll throw a link in the video description down below. But otherwise, if you guys want to get in contact directly with Aditya or one of his team members, we'll also have their contact information in the video description down below. And you always love chatting with investors, right, Aditya?
Yep. Me and my team, we are like investor focused, agents here. So my team is like now on fire. They're like, very efficient. They love to work with investors because that's one thing many realtors don't like to work with investors because, they hate making those 10 offers, 15 offers.
It's a different type of client, that's for sure. And so if your realtor isn't used to dealing with investors, odds are if you're a real investor, they're going to get tired of you. And so it's so important that you work with someone that's used to dealing with investors, that's paying attention to the things that matter to us investors. And when someone like Aditya is actively practicing it, what's great is they also understand a lot more of the intricacies of the rules and regulations around it, because they're converting their own duplexes, they're doing their own renovation projects, and that insight and that experience can just be a wealth of knowledge for any new investors.
Yeah, that's a huge value we bring onto the table. Not only the knowledge, also will give the right context. Especially people. The major concern I hear a lot, especially from audience, who are coming from you, is like out of town investors. Hey, how can I manage this property? And that's where we come into picture. Honestly, majority of my clients, they don't even come to Windsor. They don't even need to, because all you need is the right team. So because we are active investors, we have team here. We are not managing properties for ourselves, right? Like, so I have a property management that I can rely on. I have contractors that I can rely on. Even for duplex conversion, additions and all those things, I have people who can, really help you guys. So we are here for you guys if you're looking to.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you updating us on what's going on in the Windsor market, Aditya, as always. And again, links in the video description down below for anyone that's watching at home.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Matt. Always pleasure to talk to you.